Well, hello, hello, hello. Tommy, how are you doing? You're doing great, Tommy?
I'm sharing this out right now.
Oh,
Okay,
great.
great.
Wonderful, wonderful. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today we got such an interesting topic, honoring your past, elevating your future. Many times we look back at our past and we tend to tell ourselves, you know what? It was so bad. It was really, really draining. But this evening we want to let you know that in order to move forward, we really have to look at our past as a foundation. Because without a past, we can never arrive where we're at right now. All the stones, the bricks, whatever make up that foundation, we need it in order to arrive where we're at right now. So let's look at our past as a research and development. A research and development.
That's a good way to look at it.
Because you're looking at the past and seeing yourself as though you was doing all the research that you need to bring you forward to this development stage that you're in right now, because evolution takes place. And when you honor the past, you stop running from it. When you honor the past, you stop running from it. The past helps us to grow. The past helps us to see things through a fresh eye. The past helps us to understand, you know what? I really had to go through this situation or this experience in order to arrive where I'm at right now. So that is why I'm saying look at it as a research center. You're going into this, it's a blueprint you're going to have now when you come out from it. So when you come out from the past, you got a blueprint now that you can able to walk forward and understanding because you got the blueprint in front of you and as an individual. And it's helping you, as I said before, it's helping you to grow, it's helping you to evolve, and it's elevation. Because you elevate into the future with the past. So this evening, just sit with us because we got some great pointers. Will is going to join us later. Tommy is sitting in here with us as well. Tommy, welcome. And we are going to share some pointers that can help you as an individual, whatever you're navigating at this point in time in your life. We're going to give you some tools that you can work with to help you to move forward in life, because many times we feel so stuck in the past. We feel so stuck in the past, and we ask ourselves, how can we move forward from this? What are some of the things that I can do as an individual to move forward from this situation or this experience that I am going through at this point in time? Well, you know what? You're not alone, because there are many people out there who are asking themselves the question at this present moment. So we love to invite you into this space, soul, light, and body, and just sit back, just relax, get in a comfortable chair, a comfortable position, because you know what? You're at the right place at the right time. And if you know an individual who can benefit from this podcast, we highly suggest that you share us out and help them also, because you just never know what somebody may be navigating at this point in time in their lives. Because many times we show up and we're not showing up fully. We're not showing up fully. Sometimes, many times you see someone and they have a smile on their face, but behind that smile, there's so many things that's happening behind that smile that they don't even talk about. They don't speak about.
Right.
So you know what? It leads me into something as before I toss the mic over to Joan, because we tend to judge people when people react. We tend to judge them, but we really don't know what our person is experiencing at that point in time. Maybe they're going through their transition period. Who knows? And they don't even know how to navigate into that transition period, because many times we could testify at that point in time of transition, we don't even know how to transition into our next phase of life. So we got to show people grace and compassion. Whenever we meet an individual, they may react to us in some way, form, or fashion. We just need to show them grace and compassion because they may be going through their transition period as well. So this evening, we just want you to just relax. And if you have not subscribed yet to Soul Light and Body, we highly suggest that you subscribe to Soul Light and Body because there's so many little bits and tips that you can receive when you come into this space. And we will highly suggest that you look at yourself this evening and don't be afraid to ask yourself the hard questions because many times we are afraid to even ask ourselves some hard questions. But we have to ask ourselves these questions if we're looking to move forward in life. And in order to move forward, you have to be truthful with yourself. That's the only way you're going to shift yourself to the next phase of your life. But I'm going to pause now and I'm going to toss the mic now to Joan. Joan, take the mic.
Oh, what, as always, great opening as
Thank you.
always. And that is why we create this coaching program that is called Bloom Again, Tea Talk and Transformation. And we asking you that you can join us, just type in our you just DM us the word bloom, and then we will send you all information because what Bloom Again is doing for our clients is helping you to relax because you can come in, you sip a cup of tea of your choice, relax, and a space is facilitated for you that you can share, go to a vulnerable space for yourself that you feel comfortable with, and you can share, and we can able to guide you through the process and help you to understand that you may go through failures, you may go through rejection, but that is you don't stop there. You don't say
No.
stop there.
No.
But what happened in the moment for you, you recognize what happened, you accept what happened, but then there is a chance for you to move forward. You use that moment as a sense of redirection, how you could move forward and how you can elevate. Because as the topic tonight, we're talking about honoring the past and elevating the future. And how do you choose to elevate? You got to look back. You got to look at where you came from, what you've done, focus on healing. Because unless you heal from your traumas or whatever, because we talk a lot about this on our show, then you're not able to move forward because if you were so weighed down, so much baggages that you're carrying, unforgiveness, people who've hurt you, people who've done you wrong. Yes, they have done you wrong. But then they come a point that you want to let that go in your own time, of course. And you take the time for yourself. That's why we wrote this book. Self-care is intentional because I don't know if you can see it clearly here, but um, take time for yourself. Pause. Do some self-reflection, introspection. Because when you take time for you and you pause, you're able to reflect. We focus a lot about on journaling. Journaling is so good because then you can write your thoughts out. And yes, we do our notes and digitally, but there is power in writing. And when you can use your journal and you write your thoughts out, where you are, where you want to be, what is coming up for you, and then you can able to reflect and you can go back maybe a month or two, see what was written in that moment, how you were feeling. Because and honor those feelings. Honor those feelings. And when you write your journal or what you trying to, I don't want to say trying, what you're hoping or you're aspiring for. Because we get more than one journals you're writing. The things that you're hoping for, you're living from the end. Write those with those emotions. What would you like to see maybe a month, a week, or a projection that you're making 6 months from now? What would I like to see my life to look like? What are your dreams that you're writing on, that goal, that podcast that you're trying to create, that book you're trying to write, that workshop you're trying to host, whatever is it for you, because you got greatness within you. Remind yourself every day that you are enough. Remind yourself every day that you are special when you do your mirror work, when you look into the mirror. Who am I? You look at yourself. And who am I becoming? Because what follow your I am is super, super important. I'm capable. I'm enough. I'm strong. I'm able.
Worthy.
I'm worthy. That's you got to get to that level of worthiness
Because
because you are worthy. And so your I ams is super important because what follow your I am, that's who you become. You're strong, you're able. And don't let your situation or your setbacks Define who you are. Because your setbacks, as we always say, is a setup for a comeback. There is where you grow, your resilience, your level of strength. Because you're stronger than you think. You are stronger than you think. Somebody may need to hear this today. You're stronger than you think. As you turn inwards, as you go within yourself, and remind yourself who you are, you draw wisdom, inspiration, because you're worthy. We can't say it enough, you are worthy. So sit back, relax. That's why we wrote the book, Your Gut and You, because some of the things that you got to make sure that you maintain as we talk about achieving goals as our aspiration, your gut got to be well. So you got to able to focus on the right kind of food to maintain a healthy microbiome, remove brain fog. Because when you show up, you want to show up fully. You already done the self-care so that you don't serve from an empty cup. You're filled, you're 45. Practice your morning routine, your nightly routine, so that you fortify on a daily basis, so that you can live the best version of yourself, because that's what you deserve. That's who you are, and you constantly becoming. Celebrate your wins, big or small, because that's how you move to elevation.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you move to, and you honor in the past, but you're elevating because you're celebrating your wins, which is an incentive for you to move forward, to step higher, because you deserve the best. So it doesn't matter what background you come from. That it doesn't matter where you are right now. There is greatness in you. We are in the month of June. The 6th month of the year is almost half the year. Where are you right now? What are you thinking? Where are your thoughts? So join our program, Bloom Again. The air must bloom, because you can come into a space where we facilitate the time, the energy, that you could sit back and relax. Come in with your favorite cup of tea. We're moving into summer. Are we in summer? So you decide you have an iced tea, whatever tea, and then you can flavor your tea. Whether put a little leaf mint, you
Mm-hmm.
infuse with fruits, or whatever of your choice. What's make you happy? What make you feel good? And come in and let's just sip on your tea. Let's chat so you can heal. And not we don't only focus on motivation and change. We want to help you to move to the level of transformation, because transformation is lasting. Motivation is good, change is good, but moving to the level of transformation, that is where it is, and there is where it is lasting. So join us. Tommy Thompson, welcome. My name is Joan Williams, and the holistic and or the hidden heart coach we call ourselves, because we come at a level of energy, we come at a level of vibration, and so we give that every time we show up in spaces. We give that all the time. So, Tommy, welcome, 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 and we're so happy that you can join us on sharing the space tonight with the screen and be part of this great topic tonight, honoring the past or your past and elevating the future. So tell us, how do you do that, Tommy?
Um, this is actually a perfect topic. On Sunday, I had a couple of friends that are also in 12-step programs that are, you know, have substance abuse issues that they're dealing with and have dealt with beautifully. Keith and Jennifer, and I just came from Jennifer. Um, one of the things that struck me the moment you said this is we have a thing called the 4-step in our 12-step programs. And what we do with that is we take an inventory of ourselves and look at our fears, our resentments, our angers, and all the things that we feel have hurt us and are unfair. And one of the reasons we do that is so we know our past. And it sounds much easier. And a lot of people, my Diana had a lot of problems. She would start crying whenever she started doing this due to the trauma in her life. And it took her a while to be able to do that. It took me a while to be able to do it. And I was only able to do that inventory of myself and the people in my life when I applied some spiritual principles in my own life and in my thinking. You know, it's something that's difficult for most of us. And a lot of people, when they get there, go back to their substance abuse. That they avoid it and then stop their growth and stop their spirituality. And as they were talking about that bloom again, if you have an opportunity to meet these ladies one on one, using video, let alone meet them in person, I can't describe the experience adequately. They're even more beautiful in person and this than they are on screen here. I was fortunate to spend a couple days with them. Actually, I guess we just spent one day, and it was life changing. So if you get an opportunity to spend time with these ladies in whatever format, I would do it. It's well worth it. These are my earth angels that are in my life, and I love you, ladies. You're incredible. But
Love you too, Tom.
look, in order to, and after we deal with our past, we share with another, our failings and the things we've done. And what I wanted to share is, and it's weird that I kind of got ninja'd in here because our guest Will isn't here yet. Normally I'm behind the scenes. They did this to me, what was that, a couple weeks ago? I'm sitting there sharing out. They have me on screen. I don't even know it. I'm hoping I'm not making too many gross old man noises, And and suddenly they start talking to me, and I realize I'm on screen, and I'm like, what? What? And they did it to me again today, but I was kind of expecting it. One of the things that's been going on with me recently, over the last 3 or 4 months, is I'm the type of person that over the years, I used substance abuse and a whole bunch of other things to hide from the reality of my own actions, things I was humiliated with, things that embarrassed me, things I hated myself for, actions and inactions, things that I neglected to do, sins of omission as well as sins of commission. And what I would do is, if this behavior or this situation with somebody that humiliated me or broke my trust or hurt me deeply or betrayed me, I would wrap something around it and change it so that I wouldn't have to feel it and I wouldn't have to look at my part in it, because I could not tolerate that. So I put that away. I put that part of my past away, and there were so many nuggets like that that were hidden. Some of them I found going through the 4th step, going through my inventory like I talked about, but there were a lot of them that I wasn't ready to look at and I wasn't ready to feel. I just couldn't do it and get by. And I'm 75 years old, so here I am over the last 3 or 4 months. These things are suddenly coming back to me. And I'll say something, and Diana will look over at me, we're in bed, and I'll say, something just came back to me. And she understands. So I'm honoring that past and facing the reality of it, of things that I have taken the rough edges off or created a new narrative about what really happened and what my real part in it was. I don't know if any of that makes any sense.
What you say, you saying that you create a new narrative, is that right?
What I am is I'm facing the reality of it, the real narrative of what I did or what happened to me, my part in it, and some betrayals that I just couldn't look at. And not only the betrayals of other people in my life, I was married 4 times, but the betrayals that I did within my family, you name it, different things that I could not stand to face the reality of it.
Mhm.
Do you understand what I mean?
But
Mm-hmm.
how,
The shame and the guilt was so much that even though I had admitted it, I hadn't I hadn't looked at the true reality of it, if that makes any sense.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it does
I
make
had
sense.
wrapped it in tin
Mhm,
foil or something. I had repackaged it
mhm,
and created a new story.
mhm. So you created a new narrative.
A new
But so,
sto-
so what have, so sorry to cut you.
Go
So what
ahead.
you're saying now, you are rewriting that narrative.
Now that I'm older and
Mhm,
hopefully a little bit more spiritually healthy,
mhm.
I'm able to face these things. And they could be stuff from 50, 60 years ago.
Wow.
Do you understand?
So
Or
you're going
40 or
back into
50
the
years
past.
ago.
Yeah.
And I had not wanted to face them because
Mhm.
I couldn't stand it.
Hmm.
Things from
Because
the,
you've grown so much now too, sorry.
no, go, please.
No, I was saying that, and I think we are saying that you've grown so much, you're so much mature, you're in a place of greater wisdom. So you can go back, you can return to the past, not as who you were then, but who you are now, because you've grown so much, you've evolved so much, you're wiser, you're smarter, you have more brilliance with you now. So when you look back in the past and rewriting in a new narrative, it's on a different level, it's different energy, correct?
Yes, but I'm not so sure it's due to my wonderful elevation. You know what I mean? I think that my understanding of a higher power and
Hmm.
spirit
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
brings these things because they need to be looked at and they need to be healed.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So you, so
If you're not going to deal with it, if I'm not going to deal with it now, when am I going to deal with it? How many
Right.
so
more years do I have?
right,
You know,
right. So it's
it's
good that it's good that you're bringing in the spiritual component too, because when you lean, as I think we talked about this on Sunday night when we were
mhm.
speaking with Keith and Jen,
Jennifer, Jen, yeah.
when we lean into the higher power outside of ourselves, if we can reach there, I think there is where we, as I was saying, you got new wisdom, new inspiration, and you're guided on a new level because it's not a guided a level on your own, but it's a guided level
Hmm.
on a supernatural level, which is whatever power that you pulling in towards yourself, and that is stronger, that is bigger, that is better, and it makes you feel more grounded, shall we say?
Yeah. Um, yeah, and it's not necessarily something I've chosen. It's something that this is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. Um, and healing, we've got 24, almost 25 years of history together, Diana and I.
Mhm,
And
mhm. Congratulations.
yeah, well, she actually divorced me so 14 years ago in June. 14 or no, 15 years ago, she divorced me in June, but we got back together within a few months. And, mm, being with her, she's part of the memories that I have wrapped something around, you know. Um, and when these things have come up in me, I won't look at it. I remember she would talk to me about things or confront me on things. And I remember I would shake my head like this, like a child, not wanting to face it.
Hmm. Hmm.
If that makes any sense.
Yeah,
There are
it
things
does make perfect sense.
that since I was a child, I had learned to isolate and
Hmm.
avoid
Hmm.
and would bury them. Oh, by the way, I'm not uh, going for a pirate. I had an eye operation and my vision is starting to come back, but it's like looking through a kaleidoscope.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
wear this eye patch. I had
Right.
a eye operation. Apparently, blocking people's fists with your head is not a good thing to do when you're younger. And
Hmm.
I have a detached retina
Right.
um, that I hit my head against a car door a few times or something recently, and that, man, what a great metaphor
Mm-hmm.
of something from your past, some damage from
Right.
your past
Mm-hmm.
that now, with a little, just a little bit of, you know, hitting my head a little bit, literally blinded me in one eye. Within
Mm-hmm.
within 3 days, only thing I could see was a swirling gray mass in my right eye here, and that's my 2020 eye.
Mm-hmm.
And what's strange, and again, I think that's when we take a third step in those 12-step programs. We turn our lives, the care of our lives, over to uh, into a higher power greater than ourselves, and we each define that higher power. And so when you take that step, even though
Mm-hmm.
you're probably going to have to take it again and again,
Right.
because all of us have things that come in our lives, health issues, things happen to our families, things happen to our loved ones, we lose jobs, our cars break down when we can't afford it. I mean, there are so many things that occur to us, or like health issues like this. I almost lost Diana a couple of times over the last 6 years, 5, 6 years. I seemed like I was taking her into the ER all the time. But I trusted my God, my version of a higher power, to carry it through, that it had purpose. And the jury's out for another 8 months or so on how much vision is going to come back. But we call it turning it over. And that's the same thing with my past, is turning that over to spirit as I understand it.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you ladies from talking with you and seeing how you work with others. That's a lot of what you do.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think thank you for sharing all of that, Tommy. I think where it's a hard time that some people find is turning, when you rightfully said, turning it over. And I think at that junction where to turn it over, people wrestle with that, to turn it over, to be vulnerable, and just to allow whatever higher powers it that you believe in, to allow that to lay the burden down and turn it over, to let the higher power just work on your behalf. Do you think that that is why is it so difficult for sometimes for us to really turn it over to that higher power?
Um, there are different, uh, excuse me, there are different reasons for different people. There are some constants. For me, it was a combination of fear. And from the time I was a child, I learned to manipulate my environment as much as I
Okay.
could to
Mm-hmm.
avoid pain
Mm-hmm.
and fear.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw it from an early age. And a lot of it had to do with some of the chaos and um, brutality and casual cruelty in the family I grew up in, you know? And it wasn't because they were horrible people, it was because they were damaged people. And people
Hard
hurt
people.
people,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um, and it's fear. And for me, I would do anything to avoid pain, any kind of pain, embarrassment, humiliation. And some of my behavior, trying to avoid things, made sure they came into my life, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
The things I did to avoid reality created the
Correct.
reality for me. The
Right.
things I tried to run from, and the ways I tried to
Mm-hmm.
address it by blocking my feelings with alcohol or drugs or
Mm-hmm.
whatever I chose,
Mm-hmm.
so that I wouldn't have to live life on life's terms today.
Right.
Um, they actually brought that stuff into my life. and it just created more and more chaos.
Mhm.
And Diane and I were talking. We were over at Jennifer's Recovery Cafe place, and Diana was talking today about how she she was a control freak. She wanted to control the reality around her because she had suffered so much when she didn't. And what drives almost all of us is fear. Fear we're going to lose something we think is ours. Fear that we are not going to get something we have coming. Or one of my greatest fears, as I say, and that's straight out of 12 step literature. For me, fear that I was going to get what I had coming because I knew who and what I was and how I behaved and the things I'd done.
Mhm. Mhm. Mhm.
And like I said, I would do anything I could to avoid pain and go for the maximum pleasure with the minimal output of energy, no matter
Mhm. Mhm.
who who it harmed or what it cost me.
Mhm.
I spend my whole paycheck in a weekend when I hadn't made a car payment in 2 months.
Mhm.
I mean, that kind of life. Me and a guy
Mhm.
lived together and we both had substance abuse problems. He had children and child support and stuff. And we called it the utility of the month club. We'd have a come home and there'd be no electricity or no water and or no heat, and we had to try to scrape it up or go without until we got paid again.
Mhm.
And you
Mhm.
understand? So, and this is the type of chaos that I created and I lived in, and so my friends lived in is, you know, you this our substances or whatever we did to avoid reality was
Mhm.
more important than paying the light bill.
Mhm. Mhm. So, if I'm hearing you clearly, is that at that period of time in your life, you chose to lean more towards what was satisfying you
Mhm.
than to lean more towards what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah.
That is exactly what and many people, that is what's happening right now.
Hmm.
But you cannot really beat up yourself because the thing is that you're trying to numb some aspect in
Mhm.
your
Mhm.
life. At that point in time, you're gravitating towards something that is numbing an aspect in your life. You're trying to fill a void. And because of that, you cannot see clearly. You cannot see the things in your life right now that you need to address, that is in the forefront. You need to address it, but because of so much of clutter within your life, you're trying to numb. So you got to get something to numb that aspect in your life. That is why, in order to move forward into the future or into the present moment that you're living right now, you need to ask yourself some hard questions.
Mhm.
As difficult it may be, we have to sit and we have to ask ourselves the question: do I want to remain here? Do I want to really live this life that I'm living right now? Or I have a question here. Are the choices you're making today creating a playground for your future or a prison? We need to ask ourselves those hard questions. Is it a playground or is it a prison we are creating? Are we in a prison right now? What type of life we are living? So we need to ask ourselves, it's hard questions for us to ask ourselves, but we need to ask ourselves these questions in order for us to move forward. We have to have dialogues with ourselves. We are allowed to have these deep dialogue with ourselves. And as John was saying, we need to have a journal in front of us when we're having this conversation with ourselves, because we need to write things down, because there's power in writing, and it helps us to understand more about ourselves, what we are experiencing at this point in time. And the answers normally come when you can see what you write and you can look at it, because it becomes visual in front of us. So at this point in time in your life, ask yourself if you're creating a playground or if you're creating a prison for you to live in. Because the choices then that you're making, it clear. Well, welcome to the studio.
Welcome, Will. Nice to see you.
It clearly let you know as an individual what you were doing.
Let me see here.
We are hearing
We're
you.
hearing you.
Sound right.
So we need to look at ourselves at this point in time in our life, and we
You hear
need
me?
to ask her. Yeah, we're hearing you well.
Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay. Can I hear you? Let's see. I
Yes.
know you're on air already. I'm
hearing
running
us?
like
You're
we're
hearing
going
us?
pre-show.
And another question we need to ask
where is
ourselves: what are you tolerating today
There
that
we
your
go.
self is going to have to fix tomorrow?
You hearing us, Will?
Yes, I am.
Good. Welcome.
What are you tolerating today that your future self will have to fix tomorrow?
Will's here, your guest, so I'm going to get out of here and go
You're getting out of
backstage.
here?
I'm getting out of here and go backstage so that your real guest here can cover
No,
this.
you are a guest
You're
too,
a guest
Tom.
too, Tom.
You
You
are a
Tommy.
can
real
put
guest
yourself
too.
down. Come on.
You
Okay.
are a real guest.
I'll go ahead and mute myself for a while.
Thank you
And
for the contribution that you made.
yeah,
Because there is
Absolutely,
power
Tom.
in your story.
Thanks.
There is
Will?
power in your
Thanks.
story.
Okay.
There is power in
Well,
your story.
the floor is
Yes.
yours.
All right.
You're right on
Uh,
time.
Am I? Okay. Good deal. Today's topic. I'm Will Williams, first of all. Everybody should already know that. I've been on the show enough times now for everybody to kind of know. Today's topic, though, honoring the past and elevating the future, right? A topic like this, Karen and Joan, is sometimes people want to talk about or discuss something like this, but they can't because there are twists and turns to it, and so you're trying to figure out exactly how you can present it to where it applies and people can connect to it. So what I want to do is we're going to go back and then come forward to elevating, right? But what I want to do is go back, but I don't want to go back to the times when there's despair and hopelessness and just an outcry of help when it comes to honoring your past. I want to go back 20 to 40 years to where you can tap into that time frame and remember grandparents, great grandparents, your parents, relatives like uncles and aunties or cousins that made sacrifices and did things that you at that time you didn't quite understand, but you see today it applies to your life. And so I want to take people back to that time frame and then bring you back to so we can elevate you. Now, when we're talking about honoring the past, as I just mentioned, a couple of things come to mind. The first thing, when people bring up the word past, they always get tapped into the history of the world, not just their own personal history. And what I want to do is personalize it for you, which is why I mentioned the relatives and what we call ancestors today. Okay, they speak in terms of it in ancestors talk. But I want to take you back to your own personal growth and mindset, the people that meant something to you that you can directly relate your past to. Now, when you get to talking about honoring the past, sometimes people get lost in how they go about doing that because they don't know what honoring the past means. They think it is something to where you have to build some grandiose replay of what was in the past, right? But you don't have to do that. And what I want to do is talk about the divine aspect of honoring the past. So here we go. When one honors the past, you have to add a value to it. But that value comes from what I just mentioned, your ancestors. And then it applies to how you tap into it and apply it to your daily being, self and being, and what you do, how you function, the things you value, the belief system that you have, the things you have faith in, Those people from your past did the best they could at the time that they were doing it, just like we are right now.
Right.
Now, a lot of the knowledge that we have today, they didn't have access to that same knowledge that we do right now. It was there, but it was kept more in pockets, so they couldn't access it as easy. Today, we can just punch a button or just speak it, and AI would tell us anything we want to know. It's all stored. It's right there at your fingertips. All you got to do is want to know it. But in the past, they didn't have the access to that. You had to try to find a book or somebody who knew, and people were gatekeeping. They were keeping this knowledge to themselves because it gave them power. See, that's the other thing that people don't speak of when they talk about honoring the past is the information that you have access to today that you take for granted, that you apply in your business, your personal life, your social life. People wanted that information then. They needed it. It would have made the world a whole better place if more people could have identified with the information and then applied it appropriately. But when you have pockets of people keeping this knowledge, everybody can't benefit from it. Only those with access can, which is where we get the secret societies from. Now, without getting too far off of what I'm talking about here, when you create something like that, a secret society harbors and holds information. So a lot of things that they discuss and talk about, they keep to themselves, and their membership benefits from that information. Whereas you, honoring your own past history, don't have access to the same thing that they know, which if they keep that from you, they can apply it in their business life, their social standing. All of it plays into a bigger part, right? So when you talk about divine honor, you know, it's like a internal thing, because what you're talking about is what I just mentioned, your ancestors and how you lived your life up to this point. It's all internal. That's divine. Okay. So you want to keep that and then utilize that information that you bring into yourself and apply it. Because see, you can't elevate to the future without honoring your past.
Right.
You cannot do it. You can try to, but what's going to happen is you're going to end up skipping. It's like throwing a rock over water. It's going to skip a few times and then sink. So you don't want to do that. If you do this right and truly divinely honor your past, it's speechless what can happen. Because if you can take the knowledge from those people that came before you and apply it properly, they paid a price for you today. And no matter how much you don't think that they did, no matter what sector of the society that so-called they live within, somebody paid a price for you to get there. Somebody did. And that's what you have to honor. So like with myself, when I think back to something like that, I'm going to move this into the psychological realm of it. But when you think of something like that, you put it to where it's not just about what was, but it's about what is too. Because you are a representative of all those people that have come before you.
Yes.
There are bits and pieces of all those people within you. But see, sometimes we get a little bit, as they used to say, too big for our britches, and we don't want to do that. We're like, I did all of this on my own. Nobody did anything. There's no such thing as a self-made anything. That's a slogan. That's a fake image that they created within the structure of our systems that we operate under. You don't get anywhere by yourself. Yeah. There's no such thing as a self-made man. That's crap. They work within systems where they can pick up the phone, and you know, I don't use the word mentor anymore. I use sponsors, and they can get in touch with somebody who has access within the system already that can throw your name into play, right? Everybody else haven't met you yet. They don't even know you exist, but there's one single person that has access to that power, can mention your name in that room, and you can now enter that room because they're going to vouch for you. When they speak your name, the people that's already within the group that they are in say, okay, well, if he says it, then it's got to be good. So yeah, we'll bring him on in. And before you got a contract now to access that you didn't, that's a doorway that you did not have before. So
Mhm.
that's how you have to look at this stuff. See, so you ladies came up. This is a good title that you came up with, and I'm
Thank
sure
you.
when people read it, they looked at it and it kind of stumped them a little bit. Like, honoring the past and elevating the future. That doesn't apply to me. How am I going to get anything out of that? They just talking about some old history stuff, So I don't want to hear none of that. But you're wrong, because on this show, when they do shows like that and it comes up with an odd name that you have, a title that you're not used to seeing because you use that clickbait stuff, you're thinking, okay, I don't need to pay attention to that. They're not going to be talking about anything. But guess what? When you tune into this show, they're going to take you deeper than the surface level of
Yes.
it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what you're not going to get when you're watching all these other shows. Now, hooray for them. I applaud everybody that has a podcast that want to talk about whatever they talk about. But what I'm telling you, what these ladies are doing is something very unique and totally different. Because instead of just covering the surface, they're trying to get inside of you, which I'm going to cover. I'm going to talk to your subconscious here in a little bit as we start getting to the future. But if you really want to be touched, they're going to reach down and pull your spirit out of you. And that's what these shows have to start being about, because we are in the spiritual era. And more people are starting to understand this now, not see it as spiritual era. I don't see anything, so that can't be real. Okay, I've said this 50 times or more already. AI is spiritual. So everything moving forward in this world is about your spirit right now. So what you're going to see is all the old stuff, which we're honoring right now, is going to collapse and be reborn, resurrected anew. But it's coming from spirit, though, which means, and these ladies try to get this out all the time. And Tommy, when he does speak on this show, he's leaving you with something for your spirit. See, some people don't tap into that. They listen to him, but they miss it. They miss it. But when Tommy's talking, he's talking to your spirit. And that's what this show, that's what the ladies are trying to do, is tell you, look, you don't have to worship anything. You don't even have to beg for anything. If you honor it and then have gratitude about it, it applies where you can utilize that your knowledge that you have. You can now utilize it if you tap back in and honoring your past. Now, a lot of people try to run from that past, okay? Because that's what Tommy opens them up at, because Tommy talks about his past as though I'm saying this to inspire you and tell you that if I can do it, you can do it. So no matter how much despair you may have today, I did it. I'm here. I'm talking about it. I'm telling my story. That should be enough for you to see that whatever problem you're dealing with, it's not too big. It's not too big. Tommy tells you the whole truth and nothing but the truth when he speaks about his past. He tells you, and it's with honor. He's telling you that with his heart open to you. He's opening his heart up to you and telling you, I'm going to take you inside and let you see what I seen and how I felt about this. You can feel it. You can feel his pain from his past too. When he speaks from his pain point, and he's telling you it's going to get better. It does get better. If you just hang in there, it gets better, because on the other end of it, as you start to hear him tell off here, when he starts talking, when he starts to tell off, he leaves you with the future. See, but you got to connect with that, because he's speaking in the context of where you might miss it and it goes over your head and you're like, I didn't get anything out of that. Why was he even? But the people that do understand and hear him, they are now rejuvenated and inspired. They figure when they look at him and they say, if he can do it, I can too. Tomorrow is a better day for me too. I can get up and make that happen. Okay. So psychologically, that's what you're doing, is tapping in and connecting to your inner brain, to the auditory voice that you hear talking to you. Everybody hears this little whisper of a voice that talks to you all the time. Even when you're in your quietest time, there's a voice going on that's talking to you. That's the auditory voice. As that voice speaks, you have to listen to it sometime and tell it to shut up, because it flips. It doesn't have a team that it's on. It'll go to wherever it's going to side with it. So that means the ego is in play, your conscious is in play, and your subconscious is in play. So it doesn't matter who's going to join it. It just needs one more partner. And when it gets partnered up, now it feels like it's invincible. So whatever we're talking about, that's the way we're going. But see, that can be the wrong road for you. That's why you have to understand psychologically, you have to be able to speak to yourself in this context of I'm appreciative of what I am, what I have, what I got, what I can do, and that'll pull you out of that. But now let me jump around a little bit here for you. Okay? I said from a religious standpoint, Psalms 77:11. I will remember your miracles of long ago. We're talking about the past right there, right? Deuteronomy 32:7. Remember the days of old. I just told you have to go back in order to come forward. If you do that, you can now move into your future. And that auditory voice is going to be very important to you to be able to do that. So now what I want to do is tap into how do you do that? Okay. So, I usually say I am, and then I tell you, if we're depending on the topic that we're talking about, to put whatever behind I am means to you. When you speak, whatever that is, make it something that you are really going to have an intent with. Don't just, casually toss it out there. I am, rich today. That doesn't it doesn't register. The consciousness won't accept that because it knows that you have doubt and you're not honoring the past of where you came from in order to speak that tone to get to where you want to go. Because see, for you to actually make that work for you, you have to elevate. Now, when you elevate, Jeremiah 29:11, for I know the plans I have for you. In Philippians 3:12-14, forgetting what is behind and staring forward to what is ahead. Staring forward to what is ahead. Okay? When you do that, that's from a religious aspect. So when you tie your religion in, whatever religion you worship or follow or have faith in, when you tie that in, now you can start looking at the future. But in order to do that, I'm going to speak to your subconscious right now. You got to tell yourself, I will be, I will have. Those are all future tense words. So when you speak them, I will have. That's in the future, right? But it's coming because you're now laying the groundwork to move toward that, whatever it is, I will have. Just same thing with I will be. When you say that, I will be, whatever it is you planning on moving toward, that's what you need to speak with ownership. But you can only do that if you're honoring your past. I will is the same thing. You're moving yourself toward your vision of what can become from what was, which is your past. Now, remember, when you speak of past, present, and future, we're talking about very thin line of separation because it all happens in milliseconds and it's all right there together. Because we say this all the time on this show. When you speak of the past, you can relive the past. We talked about that on the show we did about trauma. You can relive the past as though it's happening right now because your brain does not recognize what's real and what's not real. So you can make anything that you speak or think become what it actually is. It materializes. That's why you're speaking the I will be, I will have, because you have to imagine it first. If you can put it in your brain and start visually seeing it, now you can start moving toward the materialization of it. It'll start happening. Now, when you're talking about elevating, I'm going to put one more scripture piece in here, which go to Romans 8:18. For I consider that the suffering of this present time are not worth comparing with the glory that is to be.
That's deep.
You bet. You bet. I want to say it one more time. For I consider that the suffering of this present time are not worth, okay, comparing with the glory that is to be. So you're moving yourself to the future. You're elevating.
Elevating.
And as you start to elevate, psychology of that has to be different too, because now you have to see yourself fulfilling that
Yeah.
promise that you're making yourself.
Yes.
You're
Yeah.
speaking it into successfulness, but you have to actually act on it. That's how the psychology of this works. And then you have to surround yourself with a support system of people that are optimistic and can understand that if you speak in this, they can support you and not
Right.
bring in doubt of, well, you know what? We talk about this all the time. Well, you know what? I don't think you should do that.
Right.
No, those are the people that you don't need around you as you're starting to make your progress to move forward and elevate your future. You're going to need people that's going to pat you on the back and say, go get them.
Go right.
They're going to be your cheerleading squad, no
Yes.
matter how difficult it may not any of your dream or vision may have already materialized to where people can even see it. As long as you see it first, it can happen. Now, not only are you supporting that vision, but people around you are going to give you the encouragement that you need on the days when you're tired and think that, oh man, this looks like this might be a little bit too much. I don't know if I can get there or not. They're going to be the ones to tell you, okay, today is just one of those days when you're just tired. Tomorrow's another day. They'll give you the pat on the butt like you do, like you see in athletics, where the coach will pat the athlete on the butt and tell them to go on about. That's the same pat you're going to get. You're going to get that, go get them. And when you do that, people now encourage and re-energize for the next day to get up and try again. And then when they try again, guess what happens? Things will fall into place. Because remember, I said mentor is not a bad word, but if you really want to get to where you're going, you need sponsors. See, mentors are mentors sort of equal to you. They're kind of on the same plane that you're on a little bit. You may know a little bit more than they do, and you sort of look up to that. But you can get to that same level if you just keep on paddling the boat. You got to keep going. A sponsor, something totally different, because again, that sponsor has access to power to make it happen.
Mhm.
That's what you need, because they're going to put your name in places that you haven't been yet. That's your future.
True.
True.
So all of those doors that you think that are closed to you, one of those sponsors are going to mention your name and say, I got the perfect person for that. I know this person.
Mhm.
That's all you need from them. As soon as they give you that green light, you in. Now all you have to do is produce. And guess what you're going to do? You're going to produce because you're prepared. You just need the opportunity.
Yes.
That's it. See, a lot of times people fail because they don't have the opportunity. So they give up because they have the perfect idea, the perfect solution. All the things are in place, except they don't have access.
True.
So when they share the information with people that they're around, they're like, that's a great idea. How come you're not doing that?
Yes.
When they ask you how come you're not doing that, that comes into the subconscious, and the subconscious says, you know what? Why aren't we doing that? I told you not to try that. I told you it wasn't going to work. So then guess what you start to do? You start to go back in your little shell.
Yes.
Because now you're afraid that you're going to get ostracized and you don't want that. So you're trying to protect yourself. So you're like, well, I just thought I might give it a try. And well, it just didn't work out. Don't do that. You're on the right track. You just need access. You see, our systems are set up to where it's set up in compartments, but it's sold to you as something that legit for anybody to be able to do. You can if they actually give you access. See, things like the electric car, there are a whole lot of other ideas that could be tossed out. That these things were thought of long ago, back in the late 1800s, 1900s. They had electric car. People were building them then. They were making electric cars then. But guess why we don't have them? Because the people that had access to more information were already making money off of oil. So they were like, no, we can't. No, that's not going to happen. We got to not let them get enough information out to the marketplace. We're going to say that that's a failure. If it ever tries, it's going to fail. And so they started propaganda against it. Like, that's just a crazy idea. That's not going to work. Of course, it couldn't work because you were blocking. You were gatekeeping. But see, all this technology that we have now, we've always had it.
Right.
But because of the pockets, it's been blocked. So we can't honor that. See, that's not a part of the past that we want to honor. We don't want to honor where people cheated in order to make themselves look like they were bigger than what the hell they were. We still have that going on right now. You can see it. I mean, it's out in the open now where everybody, you either want to see it or you want to be in denial. That's the only way you don't see it now. But otherwise, you can see exactly how this system has been set up and operated to run against you. That's why when you honor your past, okay, you have to do it from a divine standpoint.
Right.
You can't do it from the
So
material.
true.
Beautiful. That's beautiful.
You cannot
So
do it
true.
from the material. If you're doing it from the
True.
material, you're going to trap yourself to where you can only
True.
get so close
Divine
that they're not
cycle.
going
Yes.
to allow you to come in. They're going to keep that door closed on you. So that's why it has to be from the spiritual aspect. I'm going to share a quick short story with you. When I first got into business, I wanted to get in. I was just dabbling and getting into everything, right? So I noticed, because I played athletics in high school, that, you know, you had a group that came out took the pictures, the photos of the players, right? So I wondered, I said, okay, how did that guy get that job? So I got to asking questions. And I asked around enough to see that just what I just told you, they knew somebody who sponsored them to get the contract. So I went directly to the superintendent of this particular school district, talked to them about it. And he told me, well, if you're interested, put up a contract, you know? And then nobody, and I also had asked the head coach, you know, is there any other photography company that you guys use? He said, no, we only have this one, and he's been doing it forever because nobody bid it against because they couldn't get in.
Right.
It was blocked. Once he got in, he just locked it down and said, okay, you don't even have to worry about taking no bid. If you take bids, take them, but, you know, I already know you're going to choose me. And that's what they were doing until I went to the superintendent. Okay, so they had to open it up because now I know that these contracts that this one photography company is getting is not being leveled to everybody have an opportunity. So once I asked the questions, they had to open it up because I was going to go public with it. And they didn't want that. I had access to the newspapers. I'm on TV every week. So they knew I could get the information out. So they had to open it up. When they opened it up, I threw a bid in. So I'm just going to see what's going to happen.
Right.
And I didn't even have a company in photography at that time. Okay, I wasn't even in that area. We was in videotaping for TV, but we were not interested in taking photography. That didn't interest me. But when I did the bid, I won the contract. But this is how they did it. They split it. They gave me the contract to the junior high school level and left the high school to the guy that always had the contract at the high school. But that was, for me, that was enough that I interfered with the program the way it was. And so I changed the course of it. So then the next year, another company ended up getting the contract away from that guy. So that's what I'm saying. Even in areas where you don't have a past that, if you honor it, you can tap into what was there. Somebody before you came and did something that was trying to do something for a solution to a problem, open it up to where more people had access, and they just couldn't get in at the time because the system was so rigid and they didn't have access to other areas that they could make a difference real quickly. But see, when you have access, you have to utilize that power. You just can't keep it to yourself. You have to open it up to where other people can access it too, because if you come with just you, then they can shut you down.
Right.
But if you put enough tentacles out, that's kind of hard to tell you to shut up.
Sure, right.
they can't shut you up. See, it's the same thing. When I ran for school board, the same group of people have been there for 30 years. The same group every year they getting voted back in. I'm like, how is that happening? The same people? Surely somebody wants something different.
Right.
So I ran, right? I ran because I had to at the time. I ended up getting beat. I lost. But here's what happened. The following year, other people seen that if I was willing to put myself out there, they could do it too.
Right.
So the following year, another person ran and they won. They were so intent on stopping me from getting on the board that they forgot to cover their rear end, and somebody came in from the backside. See, So all I
Mhm.
wanted to do was scare them enough to get chance. I wasn't even expecting to win, but I had enough momentum to, and I didn't lose by that
Right.
many votes. So I got close enough that it scared them. Or they opened the door and let
Mhm.
me in. They gave me access to do things that they had never gave everybody else access to. Like the teachers, they gave me access to go on tour and pull potential teachers out of colleges.
Mhm.
They had never done that before. They did that on their own, but they
Right.
gave me access to do that kind of stuff because they didn't want me running again. They were like,
Mhm.
okay, well, maybe if we give him a few things over here, he
Right.
won't challenge us anymore. Leave the system alone. Leave it like it is.
Mhm.
But I disrupted it enough that somebody else, other people were watching, and they seen the crack. They said, okay, he's already cracked it. Now what we have to do is somebody else have to come in behind him, go through that crack and blow it open. And today that school district looks totally different than it did when I ran.
Wow.
It opened the door for everybody else to be able to come in. Because
Mhm.
at the time, they only had, and I mentioned this before, they only had one black person on the whole school staff throughout the school district, and that person was the janitor at the high school.
Wow.
They had one Hispanic teacher at the elementary level. Those are the only two minorities in the whole school
Mhm.
district. So when you look at a school district that has, 10 to 12 schools,
Mhm.
and all you see is two minorities in it, it's something wrong there. There's something wrong. But that's how they always operated until I showed up. So
Mhm.
when I showed up and started asking questions, they welcomed me in because they felt like, okay, well, if we let him see kind of where the skeletons are, he'll feel like, okay, we'll open the door and let him get some money out of this, and he'll be,
Mhm.
get some power out of it, and that'll be enough for him. But I wasn't thinking about just me because I knew what I just said. If it's just me going through the door, then they could stomp me out at any point in time that they want to because it's still just me. I may have, entered in and fattened my pockets up, but I haven't done anything for this community. And that's what needed to change. Because at the time that I ran, they were still burning crosses in the little city that I lived in at that time. On Saturday night,
Mhm.
if you there was a certain part of the city that if you went down, they had a big clearing. And in that clearing, they had a big cross that they would burn on Saturday nights. Okay. People didn't even recognize, they didn't even know this was going on.
Mhm.
And I'm talking about this is in the 1990s, not 1950s, 40s, 60s, something. This is in the 1990s, these people were doing this. But
Mhm.
since I had access to start talking about this stuff publicly, the editor of the local newspaper glad to see me come. I could just say hi and they would print it. So anything that I said, she opened the door for me to be able to put it out in the city itself through the newspaper. And that newspaper was circulated, everybody read it. That's a small town, so everybody picked up that newspaper to see what was going on. It got to where every week I was in that newspaper. I was
Mhm.
talking about the sports, the drug use, the campus problem. You name it, I was discussing it. They didn't want that out like that, but that's how you have to have some thick skin to do it because I was getting called out too. They were attacking me, but I was prepared for that. That moment, you talk about purpose. That was one of the things on my journey
Mhm.
for my purpose. I was supposed to be at that place at that time doing exactly what I
Mhm.
was doing. So see, you
Mhm.
always, if you go back and you honor your past, you'll find your purpose in that.
Absolutely.
And it don't have to be
Mhm.
something grandiose either. It could be something really small where it may not even affect anything but your street. Maybe a couple of
Right.
houses on your block, maybe a kid in the
Mhm.
neighborhood you might, speak to from time to time. You might change the course of that
Yes.
kid's life, but because they
Mhm.
don't have access to talk to somebody who wants to listen to his problems
True.
and try to point them in a different direction. You'd be surprised how many people don't have people accessible to them.
So true.
They are in a room full of people, but nobody's paying any attention to them. They're writing them
So
off.
true. So
And that's
true.
all they need is somebody to hear them out.
Yes.
So, when you talk about this type of subject, those are the things that you need to understand and do. So I took you to honoring the past. We elevated you through preparing for the future. And I tapped into your subconscious and told you what you need to know. But I'm going to
Mhm.
repeat this one last time. I am, I will be, I will have. And that will get you to your future. Whatever it may be that you have planned, that taps into your subconscious and puts it into action. You know something, before I close this up, I want to mention this too. You know, we talk about motivation, right? Now, when we talk about motivation, we talk about this in the context of people get it all wrong. They think motivation is rah-rah, and no. We discussed this to a degree, but motivation is not that. It's an internal thing that you already have. And if you just tap into it, you will already have what you need to open the door for you to start moving toward it. But because you are trying to put everything outside of yourself, you can't see that. You can't feel it. Motivation comes from inspiration, which you feel. Remember, I mentioned the heart is the spark. You get that from your mom. That's your divine spark, is your heart. The heart loves. Okay. And that's the energy that you have. That's the most powerful energy that you have, is your heart energy. That's the greatest energy superpower that you own, is love. If you can understand that and tap into it, everything else works out for you. You're not looking for love, because guess what? You understand what love is, and you know that you are the greatest love that you will ever experience.
Absolutely.
Once you know that, everybody else that comes into your life is going to reflect that. They're going to be pieces of you. You'll see it. You'll feel it. So we have people out here saying that they love, but they can't find love. First thing I want to hear is, do you love yourself first? Yeah, I watched the interview. Then I'm going to toss it back to you guys and let you join in here. I watched the interview with a lady, and she's famous. She's a writer for movies. She writes movies. She did this interview, and the host asked her. She was saying she travels all over the world. She's single, right? She's an older woman. She travels all over the world, and she experiences this, and she cares about that, and she didn't need anything, right, from a man. So as she's continuing to talk, she didn't notice that the host had snuck one in on her. She asked her, "Well, what do you think creates this thought from you? What makes you feel that way?" And this is where she didn't realize that I'm listening to this. So I wrote something on their site to open the conversation up, because everybody else missed it. I looked in the comments first to see if anybody else had picked it up, and nobody had. She said, I get to get up every morning, and I get to see the love for my puppies and my good friends around me, and that gives me what I need. She never said, I love myself. That's the greatest love she'll ever have. She never said that. And then as she kept talking, the host asked her another question, and she said, well, people may think that I enjoy my life, and I do. And they say that I'm man bash and I don't like no man and stuff like that. But she said, did they ever stop to think that maybe I witnessed abusive behavior before I was 5 years old? Again, nobody noticed that. They didn't pick up on it. They missed it. She just told you why she thinks like she does. She witnessed abuse. It changed her, because she said she go to therapy. Even today, she's still going to therapy because she can't deal with that. She haven't got that ghost out of her system.
Wow.
Because she hasn't healed. But she told you why she had the cracks in herself. She never mentioned that she had self-love, and she then turned around and mentioned that she was still suffering from abuse of her mother in front of her when she was young.
Wow.
She never healed those two things of what she's still missing today. So she don't recognize what's wrong with her.
Wow.
You see? So if you hang around and you honoring your past, and you do what I said that Tommy does, open his heart up to you, you got to open your heart up to you first.
True.
You see, that's why he's able to do what he does. He's opened up to himself first. So then when he walks in front of a mirror and look at himself, I love you. He can say that and mean it, because he does. So that's why he can share that love with you. When he speaks it to you, he's saying that I love you. And people feel that energy. You can feel it. When you hear him talk, you can feel it. Now, if Tommy ever decided he wanted to go out on the road and speak, which I doubt if he ever will, because he don't like doing it on this show. But at the same time, if he ever decided to take his story out on the road, people would resonate with it.
Correct.
they would resonate with it, because he would get better as he told as the more he told, as he tells it, he would get sharper at explaining it to you. And that's what the only thing he's missing right now is the rough edges need to be trimmed off. But if he keeps talking, he'll be smooth. He'll tell you the story like it's Little Red Riding Hood, and it won't miss it.
I like the Little Red Riding Hood.
Absolutely. It won't miss a beat.
That's beautiful.
And you will engulf yourself in it and feel his energy that he has in the presence that he presents from telling his story. And that's what I'm telling you. If you go back and honor yourself, now you can move forward and elevate in that same energy, and you will mean it and understand it. So when you speak I am, it's going to happen for you. So with that, ladies, come back in.
This was good.
I have Little Red Riding Hood, and she's in the next room wondering why I haven't taken her to dinner yet.
Yeah, you want to do that there.
Yeah.
So good. You know, Will, you really touching some great pointers in this conversation. Thank you for being here, because you're helping people to understand that, you know what? Our past, we don't have to live there.
Don't live there.
We do not have to live in our past. We use our past to elevate ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
We use the past as a foundation that we stand on in order to build ourselves up. It's just a phase that we go through in life. Mm-hmm. Our past is a phase, it's part of our evolution. Because without the past, we cannot evolve.
That's right.
We need that past to evolve, because the past gives us all the building blocks for the future. All the building blocks that we need to go through life, it comes from the past.
Comes from the past.
So anytime we're looking back at the past, it's just looking back at the past. Sometimes you may still need a next block from the past to take with you into the future, right? But many times we look, as I said in the opening, we look at the past as something really bad. It's not bad, because we needed that experience in order to shift us to where we are going. We all are unique. We all are different in different aspects in our lives. And we go through different things. And when we go through these experiences, it's only to build us up.
That's it.
It's not to break us down. It's to build us up. But it depends on the mindset and how we are looking at these experiences and these situations. Many times we look at a skyscraper. Oh, it is so beautiful. It's huge. It's magnificent. But in order for that skyscraper to stand tall, it got to have a solid foundation.
That's good.
Yes.
That's good.
That skyscraper need a solid foundation before it can stand tall.
Mm-hmm.
So in order for us to stand tall, we got to have those experiences and build that foundation for us to stand on. And in order for us to move, we got to put in the action. Because if we don't put in those inspired action, it can't happen for us. And many times we want to be laid back and we don't want to put in the work. But we got to put in the work in ourselves. If we want to see ourselves moving and evolving, we got to put in the selves in our work. But again, you got to honor your past. Don't curse your past. Honor your past, because each experience taught us something.
That's right.
Each experience we all go through, it taught us something and bring us to the present moment where we at right now.
Yeah, that was good. That was good.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. That was really good.
Yes. Yeah. Look, I had to bring in the skyscraper because many times we look at those huge buildings and we say, oh my goodness, that's so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Do you really know how long it took them to do that skyscraper?
That's right.
So sometimes when you're going through your different period of evolution, it may take you a little bit.
Right.
Because a skyscraper was not built in a day.
Right.
Right.
It wasn't building a day. They had to build the ground. They had to build a foundation.
Mhm.
And in order for them to build that foundation, they had to go deep.
That's right.
Mhm.
They had to dig so deep to get that, because remember, you're putting up a tall structure.
Mhm.
So you had to dig deep. You had to get the right kind of mixture to pour into there in order to keep that foundation strong so that building can stand.
Mhm.
So when you build, when you dig, you pour in your cement and whatever else they mix in there. You got to allow it to set and rest. You can't go the next day and start building the skyscraper. So when you start putting in the work on yourself, you need to pause, rest, give
Yeah.
yourself time. Don't beat up yourself. Give yourself the time to rest.
Takes
If you gotta
time.
cut off from social media, if you gotta drop some friends behind, you gotta do it, because you know
Right.
what? You're building a skyscraper.
That's good.
Then you gotta come back now when everything is rest and settled. You gotta come back now and start doing your ground floor now, because remember, you're preparing that structure now to go up. And in
Yes.
order to repair that structure now, you got to get the right kind of people. You got to hire the right kind of engineers, because you can't pick up anybody off the street, don't have a clue how to build a
That's right.
skyscraper.
That's right.
So when you're going through your evolution, if you got to grab yourself a coach, if you got to grab the right kind, surround yourself with the right kind of people to build your skyscraper, right? So
That's right.
let's use that out of this podcast this evening, because you are building something for yourself as an individual. Surround yourself with the right kind of people. Get the right type of tools that you need, because you can't get any scare tools to do any work on yourself. You got to get the right type of tools. And once you have the right type of tools, you are able to build a structure that is going to last you, and a structure that's going to give you the results that you are looking for as an individual. Take the mic, Lady J.
Wow.
Yes.
That was very powerful. I like how you use the analogy of the skyscraper.
Yeah.
But I just want to piggyback to thank you, Will, for explaining everything you did
Mhm.
so beautifully. But
Thank
first,
you.
I want to say that you got to know what you want.
Absolutely. You got to know what you want. If it's a
Yes, you do.
skyscraper,
Yes,
or
you
you want
do.
a ship.
Yeah.
And-
That's a good point.
yeah, I think mindset plays a key role here as well.
It does.
Because if you want to think big, and you want to, as the Bible biblically, because you got a spiritual man in the house, both men are spiritual too. If you want to think big and you want to move forward, you have to have a growth mindset,
Yes.
because you cannot have a fixed mindset. Because if you have a fixed mindset, that means you can't think out of the box.
That's
You
right.
No.
can't think big even to think about a skyscraper, because you just settle for just being who you are. You become
That's right.
complacent, right? As
That's right.
Dr. Jordan say you're nibbling.
Right.
Yeah.
But if you want to think big and you want greater stuff for yourself, then you have to have a growth mindset.
Mhm.
And then you also have to look where you are, as you honor your past, where you are, and how do I want to move in the level of elevation. So
Right.
then you have to look between surviving and thriving.
Mhm.
And what stands in the middle between surviving and thriving, there is where the work got to be done.
Yes.
Yes.
There is where you got to find yourself a coach,
Mhm.
surround yourself with the right kind of people who are going to able to help you to elevate to the level that you desire, that you want to
Right.
become. Because in order for you not to do that, you're not going to move further anyways. And then you got to take care of yourself.
Yes.
That's why we wrote the book,
Self-care,
the
instant intentional.
Mhm.
That's why we always like to incorporate, the things that we do, because that is how we work on elevation.
Right.
We work on elevation by writing the book Self-Care is Intentional. We bring the book your gut
Your
in
gut
you,
and you as well.
right? We focus on your gut in you, and then we went a step further and bring the magazine to place. That's why we speak of a magazine which we
Start
start
Healthy.
healthy. So in order for us to live life, honoring the past, elevating to the future, We got to focus on what we put in our bodies. We got to take care of the microbiome. We got to make healthy choices.
Mhm.
So you eat right, you focus on your self-care, because you cannot serve from an empty cup.
Sure.
You cannot serve from an empty cup, because
Mhm.
when you serve from an empty cup, you're doing a disservice to yourself and the person you're serving, or persons you're serving.
That's right.
So you have to stay full, feel fulfilled, managing your self-care, being healed, of course, because if you there's a disservice too, because if you serving somebody when you're not well healed, then you're doing a disservice too as well, because you're
Exactly.
not able to function at the capacity
Mhm.
or to give your full self, the best
Mhm.
version of yourself, because you're not, there are a lot of things you got to take care of. Unforgiveness, you got to let that, you got to let that go. So in order for us to honor the past, as Will you beautifully explained, the spiritual component must play a major role for you as well,
Major.
because this is major.
Mhm.
It's a major role for you, because when you can incorporate it, incorporate, I should say, your ancestors, which give us the blueprint,
Mhm.
you place the spiritual component with
Mhm.
us, and then you take your inspired action
Mhm.
to evolve and move forward, so that you can live the best version of yourself, live the quality lifestyle that you would like to live. But in order for you to do all of that, you got to do a whole lot of stuff before you get there.
That's right.
It don't happen. It don't happen just like that.
No.
Happen just like that. I'm going back to the skyscraper again. When you enter a building and it's so many stories high,
Mhm.
sometimes you can take the elevator and you get up really fast,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So when you the elevator terms, what I'm talking about now, you put in the work, and once you put in the work, you hire the right kind of people. You are in an elevator that you can move up, but sometimes you got to take the stairs, because some healing requires you as an individual
Ooh,
to
that's
take the
good.
stairs. You can't
Yes.
rush it. You
Yes.
cannot rush it. So sometimes you may see your friend taking the elevator, and you say, wow, she took the elevator, he took the elevator, and they're gone. They put in the work to get up there. Because if you don't put in the work to get up there, you're going to come right down back. You understand? You're going to rush up. Just because you rush up, you're going to rush right down, because you know what? You're not standing on a solid foundation. So if you take the stairs and you start to put in all the work, you're climbing step by step, one breath, step by step, right? And you're
Right.
taking your different steps, and you're elevating yourself. So it all depends on your choice, what you're choosing to do with your life.
That's right.
So get the right type of people, surround yourself with the right kind of people, get the right type of tools, the necessary tools that you need as an individual with your evolution, because your evolution is not something it's going to be that simple.
That's
It's
right.
not simple. It is not simple. Just look at the seed bursting out from the ground. It takes time. It takes really time. You're going to plant that seed. You got to keep putting the right type of nutrients. You got to water that seed. You got to give it sunlight. It's so many things. And it's the same thing with our life. We need a lot of things. You got to nurture ourselves. We got to surround ourselves with the right kind of people who is going to pour into us and help us with our evolution.
That's right.
So today we just want to thank you so much for taking the time and sitting with us. And we hope you're gathering the right type of tools to build your skyscraper.
Absolutely.
I love
Be
that.
purposeful.
Really love that.
Be
Yeah.
purposeful.
You know, get the right type of tools to build your skyscraper, because it's not going to be easy.
No.
It's not going to be easy. It's not a walk in the park. But you know what? Honoring your past, that is what is going to help you as an individual to elevate your future. Your past gives you all the clues, the necessary tools, and everything that you need to elevate into the future.
That's right.
So, Will, we want to thank you so much.
You gotta give it, because and I think this topic and this discussion is so timely, because we're in the 6th month, right?
Mhm.
And people are thinking, well, where am I? I didn't get everything that I thought I would have been at this
Exactly.
point. But you are where you are right now, and
Mhm.
show yourself grace.
Yes.
Show yourself grace. And when you listen to podcasts like these, and when you join our program, Bloom Again, and DM us the word bloom, because when you can come into a space, we're going to pour on you
Yes.
and encourage you and let you know that you may face a setback, might face rejection, fear, but use that as a tool also to propel you forward, because there is so much greatness within you, in you, and turn inwards so that you can able to pause and take a quiet time for yourself so that you can live the best version of yourself. So DM us bloom, the word bloom, and we send you all the information that you can join us and able to live your best life, your life of freedom, your life of love, and your life of joy and happiness.
Mhm. Absolutely right, Joan.
Good.
Well, there's any words you're going to leave with us?
How do I follow that? No, I'm not going to say anything outside of I will be, I will have. And that's it for
Right.
me.
Mhm.
Yes.
And
Thank you so
very much
much.
for letting me be a part of this show. That's it. That's
Yeah,
It's,
it.
it's always great.
of
It's always
course. It's
Yeah.
always great to share spaces with you.
correct.
Yeah.
It's always
It's
you.
always great.
You always speak heavily and strongly to the subconscious mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Thank you.
And the only time that you can really see the changes that you're looking for, you got to talk to the subconscious mind.
You have to. You have
Because there is where all the programming happens.
to. Uh-huh.
And it's not an overnight fix.
No.
It's not going to happen overnight. Every day you have to take the necessary steps that
Yeah.
you need in order for you to see the results that you're looking for.
Right.
And you got to start from this present moment. However you want to see yourself in the future, you got to start acting like that person now.
Mhm.
That's right.
However you want to see yourself tomorrow, you got to start acting from it today.
Yep. You have to become it.
Because if you, as Will rightfully said, if you don't become it, it can't happen.
Can't help it.
So we just want to thank you so much
Yeah,
for
thank
taking the
you.
time and sitting with us, Will, and to the audience. We want to thank you so much for taking the time and sitting with us. We hope you're sipping your tea.
Right.
Yes. 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 Yes.
We hope you're sipping your tea or your coffee, whatever it is that you're sipping. We hope that you really enjoy this podcast this evening with us, because we're only here to help you as an individual. And also, if you know anyone who can benefit from this podcast this evening, we highly suggest that you share it with them, and also subscribe to Soul Light and Body, that you'll never miss none of these inspiring and motivational and transformative episodes, because there is always something that you can take away from this podcast.
Yes. Always.
And thank you so much for being in this space with us, because in this space, we always give you tips.
Mhm.
And the tips that we give to you is to help you
Help you. Help you.
on your journey, because we know the journey is not easy. It's not an easy journey. It's not an easy journey. But when you know what? I could go into Soul Light and Body, and I could get something that I need in Soul Light and Body. That's just a blessing.
It's a blessing. Yes.
It is a blessing. So thank you so much for subscribing to all our new subscribers. Thank you so much for
thank you.
subscribing and believing in us, because our message that we bring every week, as I said before, is to help you as an individual. So continue to follow us and continue to be a part of Soul Light and Body, so you will never miss none of these episodes. Well, thank you once
Thank you,
again.
thank you.
And
Thank
have
you.
a fabulous evening.
You too.
Bye-bye, everyone. See you
Thank
guys
you,
on
Tommy, for
Sunday.
letting me pour into you too. I appreciate
Oh,
it.
thank you.
That is good that you pour into Tommy.
Yes,
So good
yes.
that pour
Thank you
into
so
Tommy.
much. Thank you so much for doing that for Tommy as well. Yeah, thank you so
You
much.
pour in very, very beautiful
Yes.
on him and to him.
Yeah.
And through him.
See you guys on Sunday with another great topic. Stay tuned. Bye-bye.
Bye. Peace.
Peace.
Wow.